USS, because we have an in-house fund management arm and because our assets are relatively large, with the second largest UK pension fund with about $60 billion worth of assets, our trustees have decided that the best way and most effective way that we can address these issues for our fund is to develop a team. We now have 4 people in the responsible investment team, 2 that focus more specifically on engagement, and 1 which is an analyst who is partway through the CFA program, and the final team member is supports the voting and the integration activities that we operate. So that is quite a commitment by the fund, but the trustees and the in-house fund manager and our CIO believe that that's the best way to add value to the fund, both through generating change through engagement, but also through the integration approach where we can make better long-term investment decisions.
Engagement is not cheap. There are resources necessary. We've managed that by partnering with other like-minded institutional investors, so we spread the cost. If you're an Australian investor and you go to talk to a company, you will usually be listened to. If you go and talk to a company on behalf of a wide range of investors, including investors in other countries, they really do sit up and take notice.
Well, one of the things that we're very active in is actually shareholder resolutions. I mean, starting out with voting our proxies, but from there doing shareholder resolutions, and we focus in very much on what we think critical issues are. We bring 12 to 15 resolutions a year, which for a $500 million organization is a lot. But we focus in on the last few years greenhouse gas emissions. From there, we've gone to energy efficiency as a major issue. We also look at bring resolutions on political contributions, and more recently on what companies' practices and policies are on providing health care, which is a big issue in the U.S. But our resolutions are not asking that they do something specific. Our resolutions are asking for disclosure. And one of the things we do is research ahead of time on what the industry best practices are, so we can point to what their competitors are doing and say, so-and-so company is disclosing this information so that the analysts have it. Why aren't you disclosing it? And we find that through that type of engagement, through the shareholder resolution process, when companies become aware that shareholders really are interested in these things, you get a lot of information coming forth. And it's providing the information, and then it's there for the analysts. We're a member of a number of networks, the Investor Network on Climate Risk, the Interfaith Center on Corporate Responsibility, and some other collaborative networks. And we work through working groups on issues, and we share the burden in terms of doing the research, drafting the resolutions, identifying best practices, identifying companies would be good to take it to, and we're happy to do research and share the work on that. We don't own that many companies, so what we will then do when we've developed a resolution is offer it up through the network and provide the support to them to take the resolution to other companies.
I'm not going to be committed to a process of divestment because an NGO may not like the company, but what we may be able to do is to assist them to look at the human rights issues or the labour standards issues or the supply chain issues or the child labour issues or whatever the issues happen to be within that or believed to be in that particular entity. And that works 2 ways, because the NGO can supply us with that information. We understand where they're coming from. We can relay those concerns from an owner's point of view to the corporate entity, and at the same time the NGO then has a better understanding of how the corporate world works and what the commercial pressures are as well.
I think there is an enormous benefit in institutional investors around the world cooperating together on these issues. So you reduce your own costs, but you in particular maximise the benefit of engaging and getting behavioural change on environmental, social and corporate governance issues.